unparalleled levels of chill in Hawaii. It's really hard to out-chill those motherfuckers.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like they're drinking and chilling all day.
It's hard to beat that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
On the island, we do it island style.
I mean, it does kind of sound like what Native Americans do, just on an island.
Yeah, that's the difference. The smaller the place you're chilling, the chiller it is. Because it's about the chillness density.
Well, it's also about, like, just the location.
Yeah.
Like, if you're chilling just next to a beautiful beach and you're drinking all day, that makes sense. But if you're just
Alaska.
in the woods or Alaska and you're drinking all day, you're like, there's something wrong.
Shouldn't you get to work?
Yeah, or like
find some firewood?
Yeah, forage or something. Or
You're literally chilling to death.
yeah.
We do it island style. From the mountain to the ocean, from the windward to the leeward side.
It's another word that they really use down there a lot. Windward and leeward. Windward means facing the direction of the wind, where it's blowing you in the face, and leeward is facing downwind.
Huh.
Maybe they use it in sailing, but they use it for the island all the time. That's like how they describe the sides. They're like the windward side and the leeward side. I'm like, is the wind always blowing one direction?
Yeah.
Or does that
I don't know.
change every time? That's like saying left and right. Where do you live on the island? The left side. Now I gotta know what direction I'm facing?
Yeah, does the wind always come in one direction?
Maybe. They do say that they have like wind patterns and shit. I think, right? Because ocean currents have a...
Yeah, I know, like, the old, like, Hawaiians, whatever, like, they were called. That's smart.
Ancient Hawaiians.
Yeah,
Indigenous.
Polynesian.
Yeah, the Polynesians, yeah.
The way they would navigate to all the different islands, you know, because you're out in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even around Hawaii, there's nothing for a while.
Nothing.
It's just those little couple of islands.
Yeah.
But, like, they would travel between them, not with compasses, not with anything. They would just feel the water and feel where the currents were going, and then just follow the currents to... So
like
it'd always
that-
be going to another island.
Like that old man shit where they go like this, except they did it in the water, and they're
Yeah.
like, it's that way. Maui's that way.
Exactly.
We do it island style. From the mountain to the ocean, from the windward to the leeward side.
Sorry to bogart it with Hawaiian music. I know you probably want to listen to Philly music right now.
Oh, I'm good.
Motown Philly back again. The little East Coast way.
No, yeah, I didn't really do much. The only thing I did do while I was in Philly, I watched a lot of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Okay. Did you watch any Rocky? That's another one of their staples.
No, but while we were there, the Rocky Run was happening one of the days.
Oh shit!
And
I didn't
it's
know
like
that was
the
a thing.
marathon. And people always dress up like shit.
Hell yeah! Do they dress up in like a sweatsuit? Do they run up to the top of the stairs and like do the fucking thing?
I think so, yeah.
Did
I
you
think
do
that's
it?
No, I didn't do it.
Did you see the statue?
No, apparently they moved the statue, right? Or they moved it to the bottom, maybe. I didn't even get to go into the park, to be honest.
Yeah,
But I
I've
was
seen it.
there for Made in America a couple of years ago.
I've been to Philly like several times, and I've never done one singular thing you're supposed to do in Philly. I've never seen the Liberty Bell. I've never seen Rocky. I did get a cheesesteak, but that's like the extent of my Philliness, and I kind
Yeah.
of decided I'm not a big fan of it. But
Yeah, I've really only been up there like once for like not work. And we went up there with like the purpose of going to like they're doing like the orchestra was playing under the Muppets Christmas Carol. And we went up there to, you know, see
Did you
some
go up
friends
there
and then see that and then we left.
I guess obviously for 10 days you went up there for work, right?
Yeah,
You didn't do a 10-day.
Yeah, just
That's
take
a long time for
a
Philly.
quick little vacay for 10 days. No, yeah, we were shooting some conferences up there. And yeah, we were just working most of the time, so like I didn't even get to.
Yeah, that's a weekend.
We went
city
out
for
like
sure.
once, you know. We went out like one night. We went out a couple nights for dinner, obviously, but like we went out like every night for dinner. But we like went out one night,
Nice.
and it was just regular bars. It wasn't anything crazy.
Should have hit up Sam Perrott up there. Sammy P. Live from the studio, folks. Glad to be back. I'm Jimmy Selesky.
I'm Eric Glazer.
We're coming at you from a week of trips or 2 weeks or however long it's been. It is Thanksgiving Eve, fastly becoming one of my favorites. Easily one of my favorites now. Glad we're doing this This is a pre-party cast, dude. We're about to fucking party.
We are.
And I think we did this last
So we're
year.
drinking coffee and Gatorade.
Yeah, that was a good call,
ready.
by the way. That was a good call. Get the electrolytes and the caffeine. We're going to be jacked the fuck up when we get there, dude.
Yeah.
We're like, damn, you guys are really ready to party. Like, yeah, somebody's got to be. Yeah, I just cruised in from Hawaii. That was a life-changing experience.
Aloha.
Mahalo, sir. I'm going to add this to my list. I always say there's a little list I keep in my mind of places that I visited that actually lived up to what I expected them to be. And so far that list is New York City, and now the recent induction into my hall of expectations is Hawaii, dude. That place is exactly what you think it's going to be in every way. I could not believe it. Like, the people are like rocket power. It was like, dude, it kind of fucked me up because Liv is like younger. And so I was like, yeah, that's like rock fashion. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
I'm
Tito.
Like, yeah, Uncle Tito. Ancient Hawaiians always say, dude, it's just like, like we were talking about before the podcast, the level of chillness, it hits you immediately. And I think it has to do with, there's something about living on an island. And I got this because my family, on my Greek side, my grandfather specifically is from a Greek island of Forney, which is about the square area of Towson. And there's something about when you just live on this like small little rock that your whole world is smaller, and therefore you have less like worries. I was like watching this guy like directing traffic, and he was just like, dude, and he was just like having a good time. He wasn't like grumpy. He was like, hey, man. And I was like, yeah, like when you live here, I feel like because you're surrounded by all this shit. You're like in a city, and then you're like New York, and you're like, make it. If I can make it here, I can make it anywhere. You're like always trying to do shit. But if you're on the island, it's like, the other thing is, there's really, in a place like that, the weather's perfect. Everything's awesome. There's greenery everywhere you can eat. Like, there's no need to really try that hard. I'm talking about ancient times now, because you always wonder like why certain cultures do this, and like it makes sense to me why. Just the culture is just like, why do we need to work? Like, before anybody came to the island, I'm sure they were just like, what are you working for, dude? There's a pineapple right there. And pineapples are that's another inductment.
Fresh from the source.
Dude, pineapples are the best fruit.
Yeah, pineapples are really good.
It's hard to beat a pineapple. Like, I used to think oranges, I think the first ever conversation we ever had on the podcast was about fruits. And now I'm here to tell you, 7.5 years later, pineapple might top that chart. It is awesome. We got like a fresh, also underrated.
Does it go on pizza?
I did not get any pizza down there with pineapple. I got pizza twice down there. It was awesome. I'm kind of indifferent to that argument. I
like
really
it.
am indifferent.
I think I like it on pizza.
You like it?
It
I
just
don't
depends
mind
on the complementing topping.
Yeah, I've
You
never
gotta have something salty to cut the sweet.
I've never understood the polarization of that debate.
Yeah, I don't
It's
either.
like people like tried to make it a thing where they were like, dude, you either love it or you hate it. And it's like, I don't know. Like, there's no other topping where people are like that. I feel like a more polarizing topping is anchovies.
Yeah, anchovies. But also I feel like that's like only for baby boomers. Baby boomers had anchovies on pizza because like they lived through the fucking like Great Depression and shit. Like that was the only topping you could have on a pizza. But it's like a remnant of some weird past. Like we don't need anchovies on pizzas anymore.
It doesn't even make sense why they came up with it in the first place. Unless I guess everybody, you know what they do like in Hawaii is Spam. Spam on pizza would be, I feel like the real Hawaiian pizza would be pineapple and Spam. They love Kahlua pork. The only thing I will say about Hawaii in terms of stuff is their food. We went to like this like authentic like Hawaiian street stand. Not the greatest. I hate to say it.
What was it?
They have this one dish called pui, P-O-I, and it's literally just a taro root. It's like a root of a plant, and they just smash it the fuck up and then just like dip their fingers in it and eat it.
Okay.
No seasonings, no nothing. I watched Liv and I ordered at a stand, and it came. They served it cold, which I already don't like things cold.
Yeah.
And they served it, and I was like, let's watch a video on this. Because I don't even know what to do with this.
Yeah.
Like, it was one of those dishes where I didn't even know what to do with it. It was like a cup of like, it looked like pink cum. Literally, it looked like pink cum. It had like,
It was like loose, or was it like?
it was like a viscous. I mean, it literally, like if you had a refrigerated cup of cum, like just
And it
picture
was
that.
pink for some
And
reason.
it was pink for some reason. And somebody said, dude, salt, pepper, fuck that. We're going straight in. And like apparently that was like the thing that they just fucking ate all the time. But it's no surprise to me that it never hit it big. I think every culture outside of the Italians and like certain cultures that have like just dominate the cuisine scene, cuisine. Every culture gets like one or two like big ones, and it's no mystery why Pui did not make it into that, dude.
Yeah.
It's like very much like a food I imagine like the first ever human beings came up with. Like as soon as we discovered the idea of preparing something, that was the first thing that was prepared.
Yeah, let's just mash it up.
Just mash it up.
Mash it up,
And
and,
that-
then we'll eat it with our fingers.
I learned a lot about the language. This blew my mind. Because the first thing I thought when I got down there is all the street. We went to Oahu. There's a couple things that blew my mind. I appreciate these experiences because you don't know how much you don't know. And we grew up, and like Hawaii is a very romanticized place. We have a lot of thoughts about it. We see it in movies, and it's like always kind of like it's like the classic honeymoon spot. It's like a destination, but you never really like. I saw all the street signs that had like the Hawaiian names, which is very. We stayed on a street called Halema Umau Street, and all the streets are named like that, like very long, hard to pronounce words. And it's like if you're living in Honolulu, I did wonder like how do you tell someone like you're like yeah make a left on Kalaki Kawaka Ole, and you're like dude I can't even fucking can you give me like a Roger Street
Yeah.
like
Or
some
like first.
first street would be
Second.
yeah
You can go on.
go yeah.
Keep going after that.
Why isn't this like Ocean City?
Yeah, how does Hawaii compare to Ocean City?
I gotta say it might have Ocean City beat.
Really?
It might have Ocean City beat. I will say that Ocean City does have Hawaii beat in nightlife.
Okay.
That is a morning town, dude.
Yeah.
They're 5 hours behind, so that probably helped with me getting up so early. Because like 7 a.m. their time is like noon our time.
Yeah.
So when
That's
I was down
perfect.
there, I was like, I'm up at 7 a.m. What's up,
Yeah,
dude?
Watching all these health YouTube videos finally is paying off.
Exactly. I really thought highly
My
of myself.
body
dude.
retained the information.
I'm like waking up at 7, like proud of myself, not realize like, dude, you're actually waking up worse. You should be waking up at 4, dude.
Yeah. This is jet lag, actually.
Who knew this whole time I've been living in Baltimore? I've just been preparing myself for a Hawaiian vacation. I've just been adjusting my circadian rhythm to wake up at a decent time in Hawaii. My whole life. It was amazing. But yeah, not a big nightlife, dude. Honolulu is a pretty decently sized city. Okay, so I'm going to go through the stuff I didn't realize about it. First of all, before I went down, I had mentioned to people that I was going to go to Hawaii, and they were like, oh, cool, what island? And I'm like, all of them. Because I'm thinking like the islands.
Yeah.
like,
You can like walk on like a bridge to each one.
yeah. I'm thinking like, we'll just go island hopping, not knowing that that means like getting a plane
Yeah.
and flying to like several different
flying
islands.
another hour or so.
We stayed in Oahu, which is like not the biggest island, which is another thing I didn't realize. The big island is called the Big Island, and that is
So it's like Maui or something, right? Or Honolulu or some shit.
no. So the Big Island is literally just called the Big Island. I think there's a Hawaii. I think that's just what is Hawaii. Like but they just call it the Big Island. I don't know how you say it in Hawaii. Probably Hawaii.
I bet it's a name other than the Big Island.
Yeah, look that up.
I'm looking it up.
It is not Maui and it is not Oahu. Oahu is the island that has Honolulu. And that's like their most populous island. And Honolulu is like a sizably populated city. And I also didn't realize that Oahu isn't just Honolulu. But like it's kind of hard, because it's like the only reason everything's so far away is because you can't traverse the middle of the island. You have to like go around everything. But like, I mean, the city of Honolulu it's like 400,000 people, and there's like 1 million people on Oahu. Maui is a different island. Their big one was Lahaina, which had the fire recently. Anything coming up for the Big Island, by the way?
Yeah, I'm trying.
So I didn't realize that
just so the Big Island is the nickname for Hawaii, like you were saying. Okay.
Yeah. I did some studying while I was down there.
Yeah.
I learned the how to speak the language a little, not how to speak, but how to like read. I would like make a point of it to like figure out like how the pronunciations work. The Hawaiian alphabet, 13 letters.
So you're Oahu, you said?
We were in Oahu, which is where Honolulu is, their capital city.
Whoa. Okay, so Oahu has 1 million people there?
Yes.
And the Big Island only has 200,000.
Yeah.
Because I guess the Big Island's also mainly a volcano.
Yeah. That's why it's so big. But I feel like all of them are volcanoes. I think that's how, okay.
So the nickname for Oahu is the gathering place.
That's what it roughly translates to in Hawaiian. Yes. Oahu. And I learned a couple key factors. The main thing is, the first thing I thought was this like language, what did the original writing system look like? And it turns out that before the Europeans showed up, they didn't have writing. So we pretty much like gave them the English letters, and that was their writing system. So that was nuts. I was like, damn. So the Hawaiian alphabet is literally the English alphabet, but they only use 13 letters. So they have all the consonants except Y, which is barely a consonant in our language. So A-E-I-O-U and never Y. And then they're big on like W, K, L, N, M, P, and like maybe a couple other ones, and that's it. H is another one. And the apostrophe is considered a consonant. And this is a good learning experience too. I never knew what the apostrophe means, but they described it as the sound, it's called a glottal stop. And so it's comparable to the sound you make when you go, uh-oh. That
Hawaii.
Hawaii. Also,
Hawaii.
apparently it was pronounced Hawaii, a very soft W.
Hawaii.
Hawaii. But like so soft of a V that that's pretty much a W.
Now I'm looking up if the wind only blows one way. Because you're talking about the windward and leeward, right?
Yes. We mentioned that during John Cruise's Island Style song that they love to play down there. Windward and leeward. Leeward means downwind, facing the direction away from the wind, and windward means facing towards the wind. I have a sneaking suspicion that that is used in sailing, but I had never heard that. So it was really like mind-boggling, all these different things that I just never realized about this place. Also, how fucking far away it is. It was like an 11-hour flight.
Yeah.
It is as far off the West Coast as we are from the West Coast. Mm-hmm. It's that far out. So like we were flying I had to drive up to Newark, just outside of New York City to fly out. And we flew, and we're like, after like 5.5 hours, we're passing over Los Angeles or something like San Francisco, and it was still that much longer to go.
Whoa.
And there's some kind of like, I always have this thought whenever I travel on the mainland, and it's that this realization that like you could, at any point you could just drive home. Like when I drove down to Nashville, on the way there we're passing through all these towns like Rocky Mount, North Carolina, all these places in Virginia and stuff, and you get there and you're like, it's crazy that at any point during my regular day-to-day, I could just get in a car and just drive anywhere, basically anywhere in the Americas.
Yeah.
Supposedly, you can get all the way from the top of North America all the way down to just before South America just by traversing roads. There's this section in Panama that's like so swampy and fucked up that like they tried to build a road through it, and every year it just gets flooded over in mud, and they just can't keep it maintained. Because they wanted you to be able to drive all the way from the top of North America to the bottom of South America. But like, I'll be in LA in my rental car, and I was like, it'd be crazy if I just drove back to Baltimore and back.
Yeah.
Because I could do that.
Yeah.
I could do that.
On my Philly trip, we got out early one day and had a late start the next. So I was like, fuck it, I'm driving home. I had my car up there. I just drove home.
That's crazy. You just have that realization at any point. You're like, Philly's a close enough city where it's, you just forget something. You're like, fuck, I forgot my phone charger. Let me drive back home real quick. Not exactly a 10-day vacation material.
Yeah. Yeah, you couldn't do that on your trip.
Yeah, I think there's something about that too, where it's like you get there and you're like, first of all, how is this a state? Second of all, thank God it's a state. And third of all, there's
Well, also, it's like, I think adding to what you're saying about the island, it being small, there's less stress, less worry or whatever. You're also going there from here, Baltimore. You're flying 11 hours. Once you get there, there's literally nothing you can do about any issue that pops up.
yeah.
So then all that stress also just leaves your body immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing. I'm not even even if anybody wanted to have a problem with me, they couldn't.
Literally, like, that happened to me in Germany too. I think someone asked for, like, I sent video to someone and then, like, they asked about something. Like, hey, could you also do this? Da, da, da. I'm like, no, I can't.
No.
It's like, oh yeah, you're in Germany. Have fun. See ya.
Oh, for a second, I thought you were saying that was in Philly. I was like, damn, you're really detached. Sorry, dude. I'm in Pennsylvania.
Sorry, dude. I'm Philly. It'd take me like 2 hours to get that
Fuck
to
you. Well, that's the only problem is when you're flying there, the 11-hour flight gives you some context into how far away you are, but not quite. And it's not until you look at that map and you like, I'm an idiot. And so I said to Liv, as soon as we were driving around in Honolulu, I was like, I just realized it's the first time I've ever been in the Southern Hemisphere. And she was like, oh, wow. And then like 20 minutes later, I was like, wait, this is not the Southern. I don't know where I am. I thought I was like by Antarctica.
yeah.
I had no idea. You just hop on a plane and then you get off and like literally Dragon Ball Z. I mean, okay. The landscape was like, I never use this word. I've probably never used this word on the podcast because I like to conserve words because that's the only way that they have meaning. It was magnificent. It was magnificent.
It's like everything you expect it to be.
I mean,
probably more.
The mountains are just like, they just jut out of the fucking ground. And they have this highway called Highway 3, H3. And I wasn't even expecting to get on this highway. I didn't know what I was doing. I had the rental. It was Liv's birthday that morning. So I drove into Chinatown to get a lay. And I'm thinking like, oh, it's fucking 6 in the morning. Nobody's going to be Everything was open Sunday morning at 6 a.m. because they're a morning town.
Yeah.
Try getting something open at 6 p.m. in Hawaii. You're out of luck. But 6 a.m., they were open as shit. And so it took me 15 minutes to get there from where we were staying. They have like one main highway that like puts you on everything. And then on the way back, it was like, 45 minutes the way back. And I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
The highway only goes one way.
Yeah, pretty much. So I had to drive all the way around and then back the other way because like you can't just drive through the mountains. They have this one highway, like I was saying, Highway 3. And so I'm like, fuck it, whatever. So I'm driving around. It was a happy mistake, a happy coincidence that I wound up and you're just driving up this coastline and shit. And you're like, oh, wow. And like there's rainbows everywhere. Just like everything is a fucking rainbow. And then you're like in the clouds. You like drive up a mountain. You're like in the clouds. There's like a cloud on you. You're like, whoa, dude. And I drove down this highway and it just opens up. And all of a sudden you're in the middle of this gigantic cavernous mountain valley. And you're suspended on a road in like midair, like way up. You look down. It's like fucking 5,000 feet or something like that. Christ. Down. Not 5, maybe 500.
Yeah. I get it though. Come on. It's high up.
Paint a picture here.
A magnificent picture.
Magnificent picture. And I look up and I look at this mountain and it's like in my fucking face. The mountain is like, and I immediately just got that. You know how like, I didn't cry, but you know how like when you get that, that's what happened to me. I was just driving
like almost came.
I was like, yeah. You know how you're so sad, you almost and it just struck me and I was like, dude, it was like it. And then, Kamehameha was the leader of the area there when we came there. And that's why in Dragon Ball Z you have Kamehameha.
Yeah.
So that's from that shit.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, altogether it was fucking.
Yeah, sounds dope as fuck.
It was unreal. It also puts you in a situation where like I wanted so badly to not be a shoobie. Like I didn't want to be a shoobie. But the other thing is I think we need to be more comfortable with just embracing the fact that we're not from there.
Yeah.
And accepting that like I always say, you can only be from one place. Everywhere else, you're a tourist. Now, granted, you can move to another city and settle down there, and then you're from there. But like, you can't. No matter if any person is going to be a tourist in 99.999% of the fucking planet. So it's like we're all shoobies at some point, unless you never leave your town.
Yeah.
You know? And so I kind of settled into that. I did notice that a lot of the white people in Hawaii hate talking about the fact that they're not from there. They're like, I would just kind of make conversation and just be like, oh yeah, like where are you from? Because that's another one of those cities that you can kind of assume, like, if you're not from here, your parents aren't from here, or your grandparents. Like, I don't have to go that far back for you, dude. And they'll just be like, I'll be like, are you from here? Like, oh no. And normally that's a thing where like,
yeah, you can pull on that thread and have a conversation.
Or normally sometimes you don't have to pull on it because like you'll say like, are you from here? And they'll say no. And then the follow up to that answer would be like, but this is where I'm from. Like, oh no, I'm from Kalamazoo, whatever. They don't give you that. So you got to pull it out of them.
Yeah.
You got to pull it out of them. So I'm like, so where are you from? They're like Gettysburg or something. But this is my home now. They like real quick to snub off where they're from. It happened like several times. I was talking to this other guy from he actually grew up in like kind of Fort Lauderdale area, and we went out. Scott's roommate Clay, who they lived together in LA, moved to Honolulu and is on like a boat touring company down there. So Scott was like, dude, hit up Clay. And so I hit him up and he was like, yeah, $20, dude. And we went out on this fucking catamaran sailboat, went like snorkeling, saw like sea turtles and shit, open bar on the boat. And one of the first mates on the boat was like from like Fort Lauderdale. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm like trying, because Liv lives down in Miami, which is like 15 minutes away from Fort Lauderdale. It's weird how these two big cities are like right next to each other. I thought Fort Lauderdale was like the Towson, but it's like, it's literally its own fucking place. And I was like, yeah, man, South Florida, Jersey of the South. And he was like, yeah, but this is my home now. I was like, I know, dude. Relax. Everybody relax. Nobody's trying to fucking challenge. I mean, maybe people are trying to challenge. Apparently, it's like a big, big flex to be from there. But it just kind of made me jealous because like their culture is so different from ours that there's so many things that I just innately suck at. Like surfing. I tried to surf.
You did? Ooh.
I tried to surf. Did I catch a wave?
I probably would have tried too.
Obviously, you got to try.
Yeah, you got to try.
But you're setting yourself up for shoobie exposure.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, it looks hard and it's harder than it looks. Like we went to like Waikiki and it just sucks because like all the dudes there, like they're like born and bred on this shit.
Yeah.
And for some reason they're all ripped. And like
because they're just surfing all day.
When you think of like places where guys are like hot, you think like LA, maybe New York City, all of Europe for some reason. You don't immediately think Hawaii, but every dude there had like a 6-pack and perfect pecs.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, come on, man. I'm with my girlfriend. I'm fucking can't even swim on this surfboard. And then like, you know, you guys are just fucking like catching waves. They literally say catching waves. They literally always do this.
Hell yeah.
Like everything. And I was like, damn.
Respect.
Dude. I just look like a bitch. And it made me jealous because I'm thinking like, okay, because I was kind of you have to justify it in your mind. You have to be like, all right, sure, I might be a shoobie here, but if you came to where I'm from, you'd be the shoobie. And then I was thinking, I was like, wait, there's nothing. Like, what would they be a shoobie at? Like, yeah, you wouldn't even know how to react if somebody tried to wash your windshield. Like, I don't even know what they would experience in Baltimore. I'd be like, let me show you how it's done. Yeah, there's nothing. You want to make a left on this road. Trust me. Like there's nothing cool. So it's just like we just one-upped by them in everything. I
guess we could maybe crab better than them.
Yeah, but then again,
but they're heavy fish culture, heavy fishing.
Huge on fishing. They can probably like catch a fish with a spear. Yeah. You know, just like shit that like I can't even fathom doing. We went kayaking out to another island, kind of like right off the coast. And this other guy just kayaks up. He worked for the company. He was like, "You guys trying to catch waves?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, I didn't even think I was trying to catch waves. I was just trying to get safe.
Yeah.
And he thought I was trying to catch waves. I was like, I'm actually kind of trying to avoid them a little bit. He's like, "All right, so blah 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 blah." I work for the shop, by the way. I was like, "Yeah, I figured." And he had like perfect hair, sunglasses. He was wearing a life preserver, and then just midway through the conversation, he just takes off his life preserver.
Shows his abs.
Perfect abs.
Yeah, of course.
Perfect abs. He's like, yeah, man. I'm like, is there any technique to it? He's like, just whatever you think it would be. I'm like, okay, dude. And then he puts on a hoodie And then he puts on a hoodie on a kayak, life preserver back on, puts the hood up, and just catches a wave out of there.
And just knows he's not going to go in the water.
Yeah. And a fucking surf guitar just. I was like, wow, dude, this guy's all too cool. Meanwhile, Liv scheduled us a horseback riding tour because Liv is, among many things, a horse girl. She is a horse girl. I was gonna say,
because you guys rode horses in Nashville too.
She will jump on any chance she can take to ride a horse and involve me in it.
Hell yeah!
And so we went to this Koaloa Ranch, which is where they film like everything. It's where they filmed Jurassic Park.
Ooh, that's sick.
They filmed Jurassic Park in Hawaii. Now, it was based, as we all know, in the fictional island of Isla Nublar in Costa Rica, but it was filmed in Hawaii. So my whole life, I thought that that's what Costa Rica looked like.
And then so was Lost.
Everything, like fucking 50 First Dates, like fucking George of the Jungle, Blue Hawaii, obviously.
They're definitely in Hawaii in 50 First Dates. They're not like faking it to be somewhere else.
Believe it or not, that movie based in Hawaii. Blue Hawaii starring Elvis Presley, another classic. There was so many movies. So we went on this tour and Liv.
That's where they filmed Lilo and Stitch.
That's where they filmed it.
Yeah.
Looks just like it. Liv was kind of like, in her mind, fucking with me, but she forgot to unfuck with me. So like we drive up there and she's like, yeah, you need like 5 years of riding experience to do this tour. So I just told him you did. So just try to like play that up.
Oh my God.
And then she never said just kidding.
Oh my God.
So it was kind of rad. I was like, hell yeah, dude.
So you just kept bringing it up during the whole experience?
Oh,
yeah, I've probably been doing this like 5 years now.
Probably even 6, but who's counting? Except for you guys.
Here's my resume, guys. I thought I'd bring it along.
References. I'm from Baltimore. We had a
References
Preakness.
from other horses you rode.
Yeah, like, oh no, he was good. He stayed put. And so she like, it was like a dude level prank. I was like, hell yeah, dude. And so we get up to the place and we're on the thing and we're about to get on the horses. And I'm thinking like the max weight was like 230. And I was like racking into cool with clothes like 218. I was like, oh, thank God. So they gave me like the biggest horse. And now I have my fucking dweeb helmet on because you have to wear a helmet.
Yeah.
And Liv's like, she did this all her life. So she's just like ready to go. And the woman's like running through the safety things. And I have to, again, I think I have to pretend to really know what I'm doing. So I'm just like, yeah, fucking stirrups, put the bit in the mouth. Obviously, this is how you make them stop. I don't even know how to do, like, I never really thought about that shit. Like, I just kind of, I always wondered.
The last time you did it, you said the horses were kind of on like autopilot.
Yeah, it's kind of like, this one was much different than, but it is kind of like, it's like, they kind of listen to you, but really they already know what they're supposed to be doing. You can kind of like give them little things like, all right, walk a couple more steps and be like, all right, dude. And you're like, okay, cool. So I was the first one to have to mount this horse. In my defense, I genuinely believe that if I was just allowed to mount the horse from the ground, this event would not have occurred. But they put you up on a little staircase up to like you're like basically like almost your feet are like mid body level to the horse. And then she was like, all right, so put your right foot in this one and then swing your left one over and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right. And again, I'm thinking like I'm experienced. I have to be experienced. And so I put my right foot in and I swing my left foot over and it catches the back of the saddle.
Oh no.
And I'm like, oh. And then, okay, so this is another thing. This is like a pause moment. This is like you're probably wondering how I got here moment.
Yeah.
So at this point, I know I'm going to fall unless I grab really tightly onto this horse. On the other hand, this is a live gigantic fucking horse.
Yeah, it's the biggest one they got.
And if I if I headlock this horse, he's going to fucking be pissed off and be like, what the fuck are you doing? So I bailed. And we're on cement. And this horse's back is like literally like 6 feet off the ground.
You're up high.
I'm up high. And so I tap my thing. And at this point, I know I'm going over. The whole park's watching, by the way. I'm in the middle of like everyone. It's like an amusement
They're
park.
filming a movie there now.
Yeah, I think I'm in the next Lilo and Stitch. And so I'm like, oh shit. And so I just go right over and I like hit the cement bust up my hip. But you know how it is. You're like, I still think I had to play this off. So I did. I immediately like if you ever watch,
bounce back up immediately. You're like bleeding. You just pretend you're not.
Scary Movie 3. Ever seen Scary Movie 3? When he keeps getting thrown out the window and immediately pops back. That was me off the horse. I was like, I was like, and like I was on a tour. There's a lot of Japanese tourists down there to the point where like that's like the other language down there. And they were standing behind watching, and they'd all just like, their fucking faces froze, like lines across the screen. I was like, oh no. And they were really worried about me. And so I got up like real quick, and I just walked over. I was like, that's how you don't do it. They don't even know what I said.
Yeah.
I like fell into horse shit. I have like horse shit on my elbow. And I'm like, and that's how you don't do it, kids. And so we undergo this process. I'm just embarrassed at this point, like legitimately embarrassed. And then I'm like, dude, get over yourself. Like, who cares?
In my 5 years of horse riding, I've never done this. I'm so embarrassed.
And so at the end of the tour, we get back, and finally I break it to her. I was like, yeah, by the way, Liv tells me halfway through at this point, she's like, yeah, I was lying about the 5 years experience. I was like, oh, really? And so at the end of the tour, I told the tour guide, I'm like, yeah, by the way, like my girlfriend told me I needed 5 years experience, so I really thought I had to like play it off. And so when I fell over the horse, I was like, oh no, I definitely blew it. They're definitely onto me. And she was like, yeah, you know what was crazy is like when you fell over, we didn't really know what to do because like we'd never seen anybody do that before. And that's a moment where I was like, I gotta be honest, I really wanted you to be like, oh, that happens all the time. Yeah. Don't be embarrassed. No, you're just like, this is my job, and I've never seen it.
I actually want to take a picture of you and put you up on the wall.
It was unbelievable. And just one last little thing. On the last day, last days of vacations are always kind of the most up in the air because you have to find something that is doable within the time frame you have left to catch your flight. Also, you don't want to do something that's going to get you like you can't go to the beach on the last day of your vacation. Yeah, be all salty and sandy riding on a fucking 10-hour flight.
You're already off your out of your apartment or whatever.
So like we were like, let's just take a leisurely hike in like the woods because we did a lot of like cliff shit. Like, it's all like lava rock and shit. It's like insane landscapes. Like it's stuff that I had only ever seen up to that point in like Planet Earth movies. Like the scenery, like these waves just coming in and crashing up against a mountain. It looks like you're like standing there like, dude, if that wave catches me, I'm dead. Like it just fucking like sucks in. And then when the wave sucks back, you see it's like a 60-foot drop and then holy shit. I totally get why people die here. And so we picked up the guy whose place we were staying at the airport because he was getting in that morning. We drove to the airport, picked him up. And on the way back, we're like, yeah, we're just trying to take like a little like hike to the like. I want to like walk on a mountain, but not like a mountain cliff. I want to like be in the jungle. He's like, oh. And we were thinking about this one trail. He was like, oh, I wouldn't recommend that. It's kind of boring. There is this one trail called the Three Peaks, though. You guys should definitely check out. Blah, blah, blah. And you're like selling it like, okay, cool.
Yeah, saying it like
nonchalantly, whatever. And so we're like, okay, cool. We'll do it. And so we drive over and it's like a hidden entrance, like in the middle of a country club. You have to like park a mile away and walk through the fucking thing to get there. We get there and at the beginning of the trail, there's just a sign that lists all the people that have died there in the past 10 years, including 2 last year.
Oh my God.
With the dates. Like April 17th, 2022, November 4th, 2022. You're like, holy shit, what the fuck is this? And so we're like, all right. And we just keep walking. So I'm thinking, how are motherfuckers dying here? Like, it's a fucking trail. What could be the worst that happens? And so we're walking up the trail, and at first it's like Loch Raven. You're like, roots. You're like,
it's
I see this one. Yeah. I'm in Chucks. And like a fucking, stuff. I'm in like street clothes basically.
Yeah,
I'm
like rolling your luggage around with you.
I'm like walking up, and it's like, all right, this is cool. And for anybody wondering, it's called the Mount Olamana Trail. You can Google it, like I didn't before this trail, because it's all over the internet, apparently. And so we're walking, and it's like, all right, getting a little steeper. Then you pass through this like deciduous part where it's all pine trees. You're going up what I found out to be like a 2,000-foot mountain. And as you're going up, it gets gradually more like, now you're walking on a trail and you look down and there's just like a giant drop.
Yeah.
But it's not like super scary. It's like, all right, I really got to pay attention to what I'm doing now because like the trail is like the width of this table, but right there is like a fucking major drop. And then you get up, then you start seeing like ropes suspended from rocks. And you're like, are we supposed to go up that? And so now we're like on all fours climbing up these, like, it's not quite a climb yet. It's like a scramble, as they call it. You're like, I tried to do it like without the ropes. So I'm like avoiding the ropes, like trying to be like, dude, I'm fucking Loch Raven, dude. I can do this all day. You know, blah, 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 going up, getting up there. And then you start doing shit where it's like, it's still an easy traverse, but then like you're looking, it's like a little flat part and then the rocks. And you're like, well, if I were to fall and then not catch that little part, I would fall off the fucking side of this mountain. So we get up and we're about to reach the first of the 3 summits. Mm-hmm. And we get up, and at that point, I'm like, you know, Liv was starting to get like a little, she was having a little bit of a time with it, as was I. And we get up to this thing, and at this point, now there's just a giant, like 20-foot straight up actual climb.
Oh my God.
That you have to do. And so I was like, and again, it's like a trail like the width of this table at the base of it. Mm-hmm. And then like a 500-foot drop.
Oh my God.
Straight down. Not like a Maryland mountain where it's like
to get to the first peak.
This is for the first peak.
Oh my God.
Not like a Maryland mountain where it's like, 500 feet, like at an angle, like a cliff.
Just straight, yeah.
Just, you can see the bottom by looking down. And so at first I was like, all right, Liv, you go up first, I guess. And I'll stand
down. My ass
down.
would have fucking turned around a while ago.
Trust me. So I'm like, I'll stay at the bottom, and that way if you like fall off, I got you. And so she's like, blah, blah, blah. And so she gets up like kind of like halfway, and she kind of gets like to a point, she's like, I don't know what to do now. And then she's like, I think I'm going to throw up. And I was like, okay, just come back down. So she's up like 10 feet at this point. She comes back down, and she's like, I think I'm going to throw up. And I'm like, all right, real quick, let me take a look at this. So I'm up, and then I'm thinking like, all right, now I got to use the ropes. Like there's no more of the fucking like mountain man, thing going on. And so I hop up on the thing, and I'm going, and I'm like, all right, this is very difficult. And I get up to like the first kind of like ledge of this thing. Mm-hmm. And at this point, like, again, it's like 15 feet up. There's the rock, and then another ledge, and then the mountain. Mm-hmm. So at this point, I'm still like, I'm good. And then I look where I'm supposed to go, and it's around the side where I have to grab another rope. Mm-hmm. And that's nothing underneath that.
Yeah.
Just a 500-foot drop.
Yeah.
At this point, 515 feet drop for anybody keeping count. Mm-hmm. And that was when I looked down. I was like, Liv, I don't know what the fuck this is. I didn't sign up for this. I don't know what is going on here.
This is like before you leave, right?
Yeah, this is right before we leave. I was like, we've been in Hawaii. And so anyway, quick note, point of note here. On the sign, it says everyone that has died on this trail died in between that peak and the second and third peaks, because apparently this trail gets progressively more and more difficult with each peak. And so nobody had yet died
right there
at that point, which is amazing to me, because I don't know if I saw it wrong, but from what I saw, it was a rock ledge and a 500-foot drop, straight fucking down. And I'm thinking, nobody's died on this shit. Everyone's made it. And so I was like, look, in my mind, I'm thinking like, this is a doable thing, right? It's not an amazingly difficult thing in like a climbing gym.
Yeah.
Like if somebody were to simulate this and be like, hey, you know, this is the exact rock formation and we got mats under you, and just try to do it. I could probably do it with no ropes, whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
But the difference is, it's not can I do it, it's why would I do this?
Yeah.
Because I said to Liv, I was like, look, I play Matchbox 20 like probably 45,000 times in my life. Mm-hmm. But every now and then, I still mess up a word. It's like you're doing something where it's like, this is doable, but it's like that one little thing, you miss a grip, or I don't know, this is an unsanctioned trail, these ropes maybe are worn out, snaps.
Yeah, what if this is,
You fall to your death for what?
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? You know? But then at the same time, there's that ego part of me be like, bitch, you're a bitch. And luckily I didn't listen to that side of myself. And I walked down the mountain for the first time. It felt like losing a wrestling match. I felt like the mountain beat me. I was very embarrassed.
Why?
I just felt like I lost.
Because it didn't kill you?
Yeah. Well, I remember when I was at Knoebels when I was a little kid, And I had been doing front flips all the year before, but for whatever reason, the next year off this high dive, I was afraid to do a front flip into the pool. And I kept on like, my parents were like, all right, let's go. I was like, all right, just give me one more try. And I would get up and like cower out and just do a cannonball. And on the last try, I still bitched out and just hit a cannonball. And then I was just like so upset with myself. And I was like crying. I was like, I was like 8. Give me a break. And it felt like that. It felt like that like shame you get because you're watching other people like do it. But I'm thinking like, I don't know.
Other people were there doing it?
Yeah, there were other people there. Okay. It was like, it wasn't like crowded, but it was like people were coming up. And I think most people didn't really know what they were getting themselves into either. And I think a lot of people turned back at that point.
Yeah.
I didn't see anybody turn back. I probably saw like 3 groups actually do it.
You saw people do it?
I saw people do it. But
and were they doing it the way that you were trying to do it?
Yeah, but here's the, or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I did look at it wrong. But here's what annoys me about the outdoorsy culture. Real quick. There's something about these like climber, hiker people where there's like this culture of like this, oh no, you're good, dude. It's okay. No, that's totally safe. And it's like, it's not totally safe. Like there's this like thing.
You see like the obituary at the beginning.
Yeah, it's like they have this thing. Like I remember watching this video, Alex Honnold. You've heard of Alex Honnold. He's like the free solo climber, just climbs up like fucking billion-foot mountains with no rope. And this other, I was watching climbing videos for a while for no reason, like a year ago. And this guy was a YouTuber. He's like a YouTube climber. So obviously he like competes on a world level too. And he had hit up Alex Honnold for an interview. So he goes out to Vegas, meets with Alex Honnold, and Alex Honnold is like, you know what I thought would be fitting is if we just free soloed together. And so he's like, oh, you mean like do that? And he's like, yeah, man, you could do it, dude. Your level of climbing, you're totally fine. And so now he's got this guy on the side of a fucking mountain with no rope, 1,000 feet up. And like, granted, if you're a world-class climber, this is like, again, if you're in a gym, it's like you can do this. This isn't. If
he had the rope, he wouldn't have even thought about it.
It would be a boob. But again, it's the fact that one little mistake could be all over. And I kind of remember getting like angry at Alex Honnold for that because the guy's clearly like shitting his pants on the mountain. And Alex is so used to this. So he's like just climbing up with the GoPro. He's like above him, like looking down. He's like, how you feeling? Yeah. Just relax, blah, blah, blah. You're totally good, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking like, dude, he's not totally good.
Yeah.
What is with this false sense of like, it's totally fine that I hate? Like when we were walking down, this like hiker couple was like, oh no, the girl was like, I would say just go for it, you know, blah, blah, blah. And the other guy was like, I mean, he was cool. He was like, dude, I would say if you guys aren't comfortable with it, like definitely don't do that. She's like, I don't know. Just like one of those people that says, just go for it. I'm like, okay, but like, what is this like thing that you have to pretend? Like, I hate that shit, dude. It's like, dude, I'm looking at a 500-foot drop. I don't know what universe, what type of physics you guys are working with, but that's not totally safe. Yeah. There's no way that's totally safe. And so it just that kind of thing bugged me. And I remember feeling that when I was watching that Alex Honnold thing. I was like, dude, you're putting this guy in a life or death situation for what? Like, I don't even, like at that point, the value of it, if the climb itself is not particularly challenging and the only thing that makes it daunting is the risk factor, at that point, I'm out. Because now you're not even proving to yourself your capabilities as far as a climber. You're simply proving to yourself your capacity to flirt with death.
Yeah.
Which is a whole different thing. That's kind of why I don't think I'll ever skydive or anything like that, because it's like, I don't see the point in I'm not going to fucking strap up to some like 26-year-old douchebag and then be like, and like put my life in his hands. Like I wouldn't even, like I said to my family, I was like, I wouldn't even buy you a drink at a bar if I saw you. And now I'm going to put my entire life in your hands. You're going to pull my parachute? Fuck that. What if I was in a war, like my grandfather, paratrooper, had to jump out of the fucking thing? I'd do it.
Yeah, like if you're in a helicopter and it was going down, I'd jump out with the parachute because I had to.
Or if I was being chased up a mountain by a fucking army and I had to like get across this cliff, I'd do it. Because the alternative would be definite death. So I could take maybe death over certain death. But why on a fucking vacation would you just put yourself in a situation to have a definite chance of dying for what?
Yeah, just like a fucking Thursday. Why die on a Thursday?
Why die on a Thursday? I just don't get that shit about people. And on the way down, we like watch a whole bunch of videos about it. And I was kind of slightly thinking about the guy who like told us to go there why he didn't like warn us more. or
Yeah,
anything.
like what the fuck?
And, like, I mean, he was a nice guy, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking like,
But maybe he like mixed that up with something else because like it sounds like you went to some crazy shit.
it's just it was I'm so proud of my decision to not do it. And the only other thing that was on my mind was the thing. I was like, well, they say no one's ever died at this point in the trail.
But what
And
if they also fudge that number so then people aren't embarrassed that they died before they hit the first summit?
yeah, last thing you want is a dead guy who's embarrassed of
Yeah.
himself. Not only am I dead, but I am mortified.
Yeah.
This is
I won't
embarrassing.
be able to move on because I'm so embarrassed.
You're falling
Stuck
down
on
the
this
mountain.
earthly plane.
You're in purgatory for embarrassment. But then I remember thinking, wait, Jim, 2 days ago, you were the first person ever to fall off of a horse at Koloa Ranch. And you are not about to be the first person. Because if there's one thing a fate worse than death is not only being the first person, is not only
You
dying.
don't always want to be the first.
I don't want to be on that sign as the first and only guy to ever die on the first summit of the mountain. That can't forever in Hawaiian history. People are gonna go and be like, "Oh yeah, Jimmy, that remember that one? Yeah, Jimmy died at the fucking Weenie Hut Junior part of the trail." So that was unreal. Yeah. What else is going on, dude? I
I mean, that sounded like a fucking trip. That sounded sick.
It was wild. It was wild. I mean, outside of that, we went to this one lounge. It was a lounge. It wasn't a bar. It was a lounge because we were there for like a week. And I was like, let's go. Like, we haven't really done any nightlife stuff. And apparently, like I said, it's not like a big nightlife place, but there are bars there and shit. It's called Tantalus Drive for anybody who goes down to Honolulu. That like overlooks the city. It's the best lookout I've ever seen. It's crazy. So the city itself is like, it's a city, you know? And then it's got skyscrapers and everything. And we went out to like downtown Honolulu by like Chinatown, and we went out to a couple bars. And the first bar we went was like, we were like trying to walk in. They were like, "Oh, do you have reservations?" And I was like, no, I just saw it was a bar. And they're like, "Oh, we're a lounge." So it was like seating only. And I was thinking, I literally asked her, I was like, "So what happens if like I want like this, like what happens if I want to talk to other people? Like, do I just like wave it like," and she just totally did not get what I was doing. And I was like, am I the one who's weird or is this not weird? Like I'm going to a bar. It's like if you went to the Horse or like Admiral's Cup downtown and like you just had to sit at your table, you don't talk to other people. It's like being at a restaurant, but it's a bar. They don't serve food. It's like, what is this? It didn't make any sense. But other than that, it was cool. It was cool nightlife. And on the way back, little quick thing, they should stop calling the seats that they have this thing called jump seats in a plane that the flight attendants take when it gets turbulent. Mm-hmm. They should change that because it was like getting kind of bouncy in the plane ride for a little bit. And then I just heard the pilot over the thing go, "Flight attendants, take your jump seats." And I'm thinking like, well, they're
about to jump out.
We're about to jump out of the plane.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
They shouldn't call it a jump seat. They should call it like a fucking take your bouncy seat or something like that. Take your seat. Just call it a seat. They know what seat it is.
Yeah.
Jump seat is a
Jump seat sounds like it's like an ejectable seat.
Yeah, I'm like, do I have a jump seat? What happens? Like, that's the one thing they don't tell you. Does their jump seat have like a parachute? And ours doesn't. They've never once said like, reach under your seat and you'll find the oxygen mask, a flotational device, and a parachute. Because that would, I feel like that.
I don't think they have enough parachutes for everybody. I also don't know if people actually use parachutes for like those big planes.
Oh well,
they usually just try to fucking like crash land them as lightly as they can.
Well, this was the first time I've been in a long time that I've been on a plane that wasn't a shitty Spirit airline flight. Because the only way you can really do that is, I don't know how people do that without like the thing in front of the seat while I was like playing crossword
TV.
puzzles, watching movies and shit. That's like undoable outside of that.
Yeah, for like a long flight, you need that shit.
You need it. And it was the first time I'd ever had, you could actually see like the flight map and it was saying like the temperature outside. You're like 36,000 feet up. It was like negative 60 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
Celsius. Or maybe
it's cold
Fahrenheit.
out there,
It was
bitch.
cold as shit. And I was like, dude, if I jumped out now, I'd be dead.
Yeah, you'd be a popsicle.
You know? So I don't know what these guys are doing in their jump seats, but whatever. But yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only shit I'd recommend from Philly is I went to Reading Terminal a bunch, which is like they're like Lexington Market basically, but it's like right near City Hall and the convention center and the train station and shit. And it's like every single thing I got there, 10 out of 10. And it's like,
Oh, I think I was there too. It was like a
60
big...
plus food stalls and shit. And like, yeah, fucking amazing shit going on there. Check every one of the fucking
What was it
places
called?
out.
Lexington what?
Reading Terminal.
Reading Terminal. I feel that's in Philly, right?
But it's like Reading, but I think they call it Reading.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
in Philly.
Okay.
Also, I finally figured out how to say Schuylkill, but it's like Schuylkill.
Really?
That's how they spell it, the Schuylkill River.
Schuylkill?
It's like SCHUKIKYL or some shit.
Schuylkill River.
Schuylkill.
I'm going to give Philly another chance, dude. It's too much. It reminds me, like I said before, I realized that the Jersey people that annoy me at Towson University were the South Jersey people. The New York Jersey people are cool. The Philly Jersey people annoyed me. It's South Jersey that I found annoying. And Philly is like the city of them. That's like their city. And not to be degrading to the city of Philadelphia, but to me, I was always told that it was like Baltimore's sister city. Like it was a very similar city to us. But I don't get that vibe. I feel like it's much more like a mini New York. And there's something about that it's like it's not enough of its own thing that I gathered for me to like want to visit there. It's like why would I visit mini New York when I can just visit real New York?
Yeah.
You know, it's not enough of its own thing for me to like want to go back. And I'm probably wrong about that. I probably obviously have not experienced the things I'm supposed to experience. And maybe if I went there again and like did the right shit, I would change that. But every time I've been there, I've just been like, what? I mean, I just feel like it's like you're in a mini New York doing shit you do in Baltimore. So it's like you don't even feel like you're anywhere. You're like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm just in a bigger Baltimore and a smaller New York.
It is just nice to like, you know, go to a place and do shit though. Doesn't always have to be like a destination type thing.
Exactly. It's all about the journey, as they say.
That's why we went to like fucking Ohio a couple months ago. So it's like, why in the fuck else are we ever going to go here?
Yeah, exactly.
There's like one thing we want to do. Let's build out the rest of the trip and fuck it.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it. I think I've only been to Ohio once myself. And it was Columbus, Ohio for wrestling camp. Didn't really get the Columbus experience there. But it was cool. It was cool.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, with all that said, you know, more
With all
importantly,
that said, I'm jealous.
you got to go, dude. I cannot recommend Hawaii enough. It fucking rocks. The people are chill as fuck. They don't even care that you're a shoobie because they know you are. It's you.
And they're also like, we know you're going to leave soon enough.
Yeah,
so,
you're out of here anyway.
Yeah, fuck it.
Fucking have fun. And it's definitely one of those things that it's just like, you know, it's one of those things, like I said before, you know, we had a pretty sweet arrangement. Liv's coworker lives down there. We were able to stay in his place for $40 a day. It was fucking, that opportunity may never come again. It doesn't even feel like it feels like more like you're in Asia. It's like the closest you can get to like leaving the country, I would say, without leaving the country. So I'd highly recommend it. It is all it's cracked up to be. I'm going to try to check out the other islands too. They did shut down the ferry because they didn't want tourists just constantly like traversing the islands and shit, which I was bummed about. But so now you got to fly everywhere. But hey, Oahu's sick. Oahu's sick. So shouts out. Mahalo for having me, everybody. Thanksgiving Eve tonight. Looking forward to this fiesta, this festival of people that are coming through. I spent all day cleaning up the house. A lot more cleaning than I thought I was gonna have to do.
Yeah, you clean for like. Ooh, how did that happen? Okay, Siri.
Siri says, I found on the web this for, quote, tonight looking for this festival of a people that are coming through all day to clean up my house.
Well, that's what it seemed like because you cleaned up for like a full work day.
What a Google search that would be. I want somebody to clean my house, but I want it to be a festival of
I
people.
want a festival of people to clean my house.
I want them to be partying while they clean my house. I want them to be having a blast.
I want 10 plus people to come clean my house.
Hey Siri, can we start a festival, ticketed only, to clean my house? Oh my God.
Stop,
Shut
bitch.
up. Oh wow, she actually listened. I said stop, shut up, and she just went away. Sorry, now I feel like a dick. Whatever. I'm gonna get out of here before I get fucking zapped by my AI. Guys, yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Very early this year. Feels too early. It's always the
Yeah.
fourth Thursday of November. The earliest it could ever be is November 23rd. This is the earliest Thanksgiving can ever be.
Wow.
Because if it was any, wait a second.
Wait a second. What if it was the 21st?
Hold up. There's earlier days in November. No, okay. So if, oh, okay. Yeah, there's only, the earliest it could be is November 22nd, which will be next year, I think. Yeah. If the first Thursday is the first, then it's the 8th, 15th, 20, whatever. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. It feels early. I'm 5 hours behind people. Do your own math. Look at a calendar. We'll figure it out together. Any plugs coming up?
Nah, fuck it.
Yeah, I got nothing.
At
either.
LFTS Podcast, bitch.
I have literally nothing coming up, people. Unfortunately, I had both gigs canceled this past weekend. I have nothing coming up this weekend. Nothing for the week after that. I will be back doing shit again. Thankfully, no one is happier than my landlord about that. December 1st at the Chop Tank. Friday, December 1st, I'll be at the Chop Tank in Fells Point, 7 to 11.
Hell yeah.
And I'll be at Cooper's North in Timonium, not the one in Fells, Cooper's North in Timonium, Saturday, December 2nd, 8 to 11 p.m. So that's that. Happy Thanksgiving, happy Turkey Day.
Gobble, gobble.
Gobbledygook. Till next time.
Peace.